Hey everybody. Happy Monday. I think it's you can start feeling the change of seasons. I know we're feeling it out here, so I'm getting a little raspy. Yeah, this time of year when the seasons change. For those of you in Florida, like it's different. Like down in the South, it's a little different. But up this way, when you get real far north, we're going to be speaking to a couple of guys in Colorado, same deal there. You know, the seasons change and you get a little raspy. And plus I'm of a certain age, ergo, you know, that happens. All right. A good Monday to all of you. Thank you so much for your support of Indie Agency News. Our brief is very simple. Build the global home for independent agencies. Our mission, serve independent agencies and the brilliant people behind them. Our goal is more visibility for indies and more choice for marketers. Are we a media platform? Yes. But we are a service platform for our members. We call it community as a service because we're building a great community, but we are here to serve them. This is all about visibility, and it's about growing our members. And it's going to be different for each member, which makes it really fun. That's why we're working very hard on building a lot of things for this platform. So there's a lot coming up. Speaking of coming up, professional broadcast segue. Entries, we're getting close to the deadline here. Weirdos, Misfits, and Underdogs. Our four amazing presidents, Shannon, Dooley, Yadira, and Greg. We're opening an Indie Hall of Fame. So when you nominate somebody, you can tick the box. We're going to go up to 5. We got to figure out where we're going to put this Hall of Fame. Probably Portland, where we are, because we're sufficiently indie here. Who's eligible? Agencies, people, and teams. So this is our Agency and People Award, our People and Agency Award. And only 3 to 6 fields to fill out. Oh, and you can prepay to save some money as well. So if you remember, as little as $75 per entry, and those never expire. So we just keep track of them for you, and off you go. Main deadline, final deadline. I got to do a little editing here. Friday, September 12th. So we wanted to give a little bit of a roadmap, or a little bit of a slide after Labor Day. So we've got that. And then I do real quick, I do want to talk about our preferred partners. Now, they are not random sponsors. They're companies that have proven that they can help indies win. So I want to share something that might change how you think about scaling. You don't need to hire to scale media. Yes, sounds too good to be true, but that's exactly what more than 50 indie agencies discovered with Path Labs. They become an extension of your team. No headcount increase, no benefits to pay, no management overhead. We know media execution is getting harder and more fragmented. New platforms, new formats, new requirements. It's exhausting. Path Labs simplifies all of that so your team can focus on what they're actually good at. Strategy, creativity, and growing client relationships. And they'll give you a single point of entry to all the media, tech, and activation you need. There's no separate contracts with a dozen platforms, no extra hires, no tech overwhelm. And the proof is in the pudding. You can see right here some of those key performance metrics. 200 million plus in media spend managed. 6,500 plus campaigns launched annually. 90% agency partner retention. And it's a human-led model in action. Our friends at Curiosity are very happy members, or very happy customers of Path Labs as well. And they have people that'll actually answer the phone and help you when things get a little whoop. So, ready to pitch and win bigger media opportunities, find out more about Path Labs, you can go to indieagency.partners, or you can just go here to our current preferred partners. And the nifty thing here as well is that you can schedule as I refresh the page, that's classy. You can schedule, I'm going to bring the boys in from Colorado. Where'd you go? There you are. Hold on. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. You can schedule a free strategy call. So all you got to do is mush that link, and there you go. Thank you, Path Labs, for supporting this mission. We appreciate it very much. And we go to Colorado. Gentlemen.
What's up, Doug?
I want to point this out first.
What's up, dog?
All right. Travis, you wrote this, right?
Which one?
Hold on. I'm getting it. Jesus. You're presuming I know what I'm doing. So here you go. Fast Company, check you out. Travis, please explain.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs an enemy, and and enemies are what make you stand out. And so this article is just about how positioning yourself against your enemy is actually going to let you stand out. Because if you're just trying to be everything for all people and please everybody, you're really not going to differentiate yourself. Yep. And so by standing out for who you stand for, that inherently means there's someone that you are standing against.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be mean, but it is carving a path of who you are and who you're not.
That's true. Also, I wouldn't point out Most Innovative Companies Awards. Yeah, get at those. Those are great. I ran them last year for a category, and wonderful staff. So Travis, nice work, man.
Thanks.
This is nice. That's some good earned media action going on there. But we're not, well, maybe we are talking about enemies, because if you think about it, the enemy of mediocrity is the opposite of mediocrity. I don't know where this is going. I still haven't caffeinated up yet. But we are talking about comedy. We're talking about humor. And, I've had conversations with, Haley Hunter from Partyland. We all know her. We all love her. And I love the fact that the discipline behind it and the structure behind it. There's such it's just not a willy-nilly thing. And I think that there's still some weird thing happening where there's this perception that humor is easy to do. It's not, and it's very considered. But I do want to point out some research here. So Oracle, little research, 90% of consumers remember funny ads and 72% prefer humorous. Get those two together. Brands over competitors, yet humor in advertising's declined consistently since 2002. I mean, that's a big one. So when CMOs are starving for brand recall and competitive differentiation, I mean, what's driving this massive disconnect between what works and what agencies are actually delivering? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think the first part of that, and that first part of the question, since 2002, the other thing that's happened since 2002 is performance marketing and tracking everything in Excel spreadsheets. And so being able to run something and determine how many clicks that thing is actually getting, and how many people then turn that into a purchase. And so when you start to lean into that whole aspect of everything, you start to lose the emotional connection that brand building has done since the advent of brand building. But for us in modern advertising, since the 50s and 60s, you're losing that emotional connection.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. I was
going to say the other part, the allure of clicks, tracking clicks, but the other part of it, another thing that was happening in the early 2000s was the whole purpose boom. And I think there's a hangover from that. And I think in the early 2000s and the 2010s, with brands having more transparency than ever before, everybody got sucked into this virtue signaling. Maybe it's not always virtue signaling, but virtue signaling in their marketing. And consumers just don't really care about that anymore. But I think some marketers think that they do. And I do think there's some table stakes you have to hit, but I think everybody's still caught up in the tracking clicks, and B, let's talk about what we believe in, because everybody cares about that, which, we don't have time in our lives for that.
Yeah. And I struggle with this because when I was at Adweek, purpose was something that I was really interested in even before that. It preceded even me being at the Drum. So I've seen what, there's this morphing from corporate social responsibility into something broader. You have, you have the shareholders or owners or whomever, investors squishing down on you. You have consumer sentiment squishing up on you. So I believe that there may have been an over revving. I think we all understand why, but I think that it becomes more of a reframing of what purpose can be and should be. And I don't know, because the whole thing is everyone's like, well, Patagonia and Ben and Jerry's is like, yeah, but that we need to get past that, right? Not every company is going to be that way. And if you try to emulate it, you're going to fail. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I feel like that as long as you have your internal house in order, then you can articulate it, because a lot of it became super performative. And that's the part that I think is so I think, Rob, to your point, yeah, I don't think people, I wouldn't say people don't care about it. I think they don't care about shitty representations of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice reason to believe. Like, it's still
Sure.
like it still exists. There's nothing. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're outwardly creating messaging for the consumer, that doesn't mean you can't be entertaining when you're delivering.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be this pulling at the heartstrings, telling everybody, you know, how you clean up plastic out of the ocean in a very early way. It doesn't need to be that. And we've seen that, you know, I mentioned this in that Ad Age piece where like the things like the world's biggest asshole, like that was about like organ donation.
Yeah, it was organ donation. Yeah.
But it was done in like a totally breakthrough way. Right. And like that created tons of reach. So even when you are communicating purpose or just a really sincere, important message, that doesn't mean it couldn't benefit from humor or some sort of entertaining.
Right. Which brings up a point. When CMOs tell their agencies, we need to be more memorable, but then they reject these entertaining concepts for being off brand. And you brought up Donate Life, and I worked for the Martin Agency for a year and got a chance to look at that a little bit more deeply, and actually working with that client. And their whole thing was, yeah, this is our brand, but like everything's up for grabs. So this idea of off brand. So what specific business costs are they missing beyond lower recall rates here? And also just what are some of the conversations, you don't have to name check anybody, but if you've had conversations with marketers saying we need to be memorable, but ooh, not that way. What are those conversations like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, well, first off, I don't think entertaining content has to be off brand.
No.
Like live within a box. It can live within your tone. But I think they're risking becoming wallpaper. You know, there's so much content out in the world. If you're not standing out, you're blending in, right? And you're totally getting ignored. So they're missing out on loyalty. They're missing out on sentiment. They're missing out on creating brand advocates, like all of it, right? Because there's a ton of information coming at everybody from all sides. We all know that.
Right.
On all different platforms. And so if we're playing it safe because you know that's what the board is telling us to do, then you know it's almost like what's the point? Right.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very, very true. So what about a marketer? How do you get a marketer into a headspace of it's the brand safety thing, right? And how do you get a marketer in the headspace, whether it's strategically, however whatever magic potion you put together to help a marketer understand that humorous approaches can be these premium brand amplifiers rather than these risky experiments?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, we love humor personally, but entertainment doesn't have to equal humor. You can still be entertaining in a way that doesn't lean into humor. So if you're a brand and you're just like, we can't touch humor, that doesn't mean you can't be entertaining. Like, let's do something in an entertaining way. But then along those same lines, like speaking specifically about humor humor doesn't also equal Old Spice. Old Spice, that was great. It's wild, it's out there, but they were reinventing themselves and who they were out in the world. And so they were really absurd. And that doesn't mean that humor has to be Puppy Monkey Baby or Old Spice or something really absurd.
Right.
You really just should be leaning into who is your core audience. How do they respond and interact with your brand? How do they respond and interact with the world? And then create smart, creative that can be humorous, can be entertaining in other ways. That's true to your audience and true to who you are as a brand. So your brand isn't faking it. You're not trying to be Pacific Life Insurance, with whales crashing, because I saw that commercial again.
Oh God, all weekend, yeah. If it's golf, you see a whale,
right? But all of a sudden, these whales aren't talking, or you're not going to do something for Pacific Life where it's so absurd.
I'm still like that. I'm still mesmerized by that. They just said we're gonna have whales. Like, okay, yeah. Are they animated? Nope, just whales.
Whales are the college marching band in the back.
Yep, just
fin splashes.
Just whales, and yeah, it's been obviously memorable because we know it's Pacific Life.
Exactly. But so yeah, I mean, really, it's just be true to your consumer. Be true to who you are as a brand. And so for marketers or CMOs, it's really providing a solid brief and guardrails for the creative team for them to play within.
That's
and
really
find what's true about your audience, what's true about your brand, and push different levers there.
Have you ever gotten this? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, one thing Rob always says, and maybe scooping him later on, but we're the gas. We view ourselves as the gas, and the clients are the brakes. So give us a box to play in, and we're going to push you to different areas, and not say we're not egomaniacs where we're like, this is it, otherwise that's nothing.
Right.
We're going to push you into different areas that maybe is a little slightly outside your comfort zone.
Right.
And then you tell us where to rein back in, and that's what a good agency and that's what a creative agency should be doing for their clients.
And I will say I've had several conversations with marketers over the years that they're very appreciative of it, and it comes down to we wouldn't have gone that direction unless they had pushed us, but boy am I glad that they did. And I like that analogy of gas and brakes. I've heard of secret second briefs, and I've heard of just weird stuff to be like, okay, we know we have to do it this way to appease the CEO, but why don't you put a little go team over here and see what we get. So
yeah, and I mean, I heard you talking to the Quality Meats people the other day about this too.
Mm-hmm.
You're positioning your agency as an agency that does this type of work. You're probably appealing to a client base that is at least open to this type of work. We're firm believers, you don't show it unless it's something you want to make. You only show the type of work you want to make. So brands like us, brands like you mentioned Partyland or Quality Meats, there's probably a reason people are reaching out to them, and it's probably not for a heartfelt manifesto.
Yeah, but again, bottom line is it works. I mean, that's the thing. The results are there. The results are there. Let's see here. This is a tricky one. If you are an agency that leans into entertainment, how would you position yourself to a marketer? How would you approach a marketer that maybe has very dull, and I guess this is a biz dev question, might be dull. You might perceive it as dull, but you don't know if it's working or not. But what should agencies and indies think about when they go out and maybe try to build a relationship with a marketer or a client that, maybe they're with a big agency and it's kind of dull? How have you approached that, or how would you approach that?
Yeah, I think Well, one, I think indies can win in this space because like, as you know, starting indie agency news, there's a small indie agency renaissance. A lot of the best talent is moving to indies or opening their own shops. So I think we can speak to it a lot more authentically than the big agency who does it all.
Right.
Because we can own that niche a little bit more. I think for us, like stats like you rattled off at the beginning, that Oracle stat, help us a ton, right? And it's not only that, like there's literal science to surprise, and there's science to humor and recall. So I think moving to some of the data that proves out that this is going to work harder for you, and pushing back against this like idea of blending into the sort of sea of blah out there is really how we've talked about it. Now I think indies can talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Preaching like a message of consistency too. For brands. Like lots of brands and people want quick fixes, like in life and with like their brands. And so, you have to create something that's memorable, like in what Rob was talking about, and then you have to be consistent on it, and get people to then become loyal to your brand.
It's funny that we're talking about this, like that it's kind of new, right? I mean, because it's not like this has always been like best practice. Like, remember when was it TBWA always talked about disruption?
Yeah.
Like, hey, disruption. Like, we have to disrupt. We have to break through in a way.
Pirates.
And they weren't wrong, right?
They weren't wrong.
There was a whole scientific study that was done on like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds that showed that they would remember something much more if the thing they were shown was impossible or unexpected.
Right.
And so that just proves right there, like we can learn just from that to break through and have people remember you have to show them something in a new way, in a disruptive way, in a memorable, surprising, unexpected way, or else I can go get a snack while you're
for 2-year-olds. The quickest route is licensed Bluey, and then then you're in like Flynn. And it is true. Kudos to System 1 for consistently showing that and demonstrating it, what consumers actually think about entertaining ads. And to their credit, it isn't simply humorous ads, it is the more intense ads. So kudos to them for for continuing to beat that drum on that as well. What else do you want to talk about? We're going to talk about the Broncos. What's going on?
I mean, bonus. Broncos and Nebraska. Nebraska's back.
Oh no.
One thing Travis and I were talking about in regards to this topic is, and I think you had asked us something about like when are we going to know that this shift is happening? And like what we were talking about is how the Super Bowl is such an anomaly, where it's like, everybody watches the Super Bowl because they want to see the ads, because that's the only time of the year that the ads are really, really entertaining. And consistently, right? Because we all watch television or streaming or whatever we watch.
Right.
90% of the stuff out there isn't a funny, cool ad that we know they're out there. Like we see them on your platform, we see them on YouTube, we see them on, all the trade outlets. But when you watch TV, you don't see them. So like people have a right to hate advertising when they're getting served these RX ads and they're getting served this like just slop. Right. And so I think we'll know when this fundamental shift happens, when we turn on our streaming service or television or whatever we watch, and we're consistently entertained by just the ads that are in those like 30-second pods, in those like everyday TV watching. And it's not this like once a year anomaly, but it's a consistent thing where people maybe maybe they don't hate advertising quite as much. And that's something we try to do here. It's like,
Right.
we know you hate advertising.
Yeah.
You don't hate it when it's great. You don't
Right.
hate it during the Super Bowl. So let's get to that on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, and on streaming, not see the same T-Mobile ad 1,000 times. I mean, but that's a different story altogether.
Or T-Mobile, come on.
No, I love T-Mobile. I've been T-Mobile forever. I'm like OG T-Mobile. All right, what else? Give me something like back of the mullet. We've been talking all business now. What's been fun? What's been going on? What are you looking forward to this fall? Guys, stumped you on that? Jesus.
I mean, I already told you, Nebraska's back. I mean, I think what we're really looking forward to, just like from a business agency side, is we have a couple really fun opportunities in the pipeline that we're thinking on and creating on. And so we're excited to really get deep into those and get those built out and launched in 26.
All right, Rob, you get the last word.
This is just, I don't know. We were joking this morning because I crashed my bike this weekend.
Wait, what?
Not a motorcycle, just a.
No. Yeah, but even then.
Yeah. So you know how race cars go high side and they take it into the wall?
Uh-huh.
I did that, but on a mountain, and took it into the wall. And,
all right?
Yeah. I'm okay. It was just top of mind because we were joking about my scabs this morning.
I'm not sure I have a comment for that. So I'm gonna bail myself out by reminding everybody to go read Travis's op-ed on Fast Company. Rob, Jesus. All right.
It hurts to be an amateur extreme sports athlete.
Well, I mean, I asked. It's my own damn fault. Oh, but in all seriousness, do go read this op-ed. And real quick, if you're a member, we'll help you get your op-ed set up. We'll help you optimize it. We have this thing called First Pass that we're building. We're building a suite of products, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It's your first pass. And then once you get that, that's when you bring the brains together and you work it. So you got a model that's modeling it, but then the brilliance of the human brain comes in, and then you end up with your finished product. That's why it's called First Pass. So we're starting with op-eds. We also have other products that we're rolling out. This is for members only. Again, talking about building products where we can be of service. Should I run this through to see how it scored?
Yeah, but just send it to me.
No, I know. I'm not going to do it right now. Jesus.
Unless it scores really well.
I'm not that stupid. Jeez.
If it scores really well, push it out.
I'm not that stupid. Gentlemen, I'm going to put you backstage before I get us in more trouble. But hang on. It's not a Zoom call. I'll be right there. All right, everybody. It's so fun catching up with them. It really is. I went to University of Denver. Plus, it's just a great crew. A reminder that we would love to see your entries for Weirdos, Misfits, and Underdogs, our People and Agency Award. Go to indieagency.news. Plus, when you go to the homepage, you will see Mission Control, all the shows that we have going on, all of the awards, all the live events. Plus, you can see our latest coverage. We have a nice little recap from Kyle's conversation with Territorial last Friday, plus some news on Haymaker. We're adding to the mix on that one. But it's all great stuff. And thank you again to all of our members for supporting this mission. And on behalf of all of us at Indie Agency News, I'm Doug Zanger. We'll see you next time.